Hey guys, so in this lesson we are going to determine the standard form. Now remember, standard form is the one that says ax plus by equals to c, and we're gonna be given two different points. So like this. Here they give us point 1 and point 2, and we need to determine the standard form. So let's just write that down. Now remember that A, B, and C must not be fractions, and then A must always be something that is positive. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are not going to start off with standard form. We're going to start off with something we've already done before, which is slope-intercept form, where you can use a C over here, or I know some learners like to use a B. It doesn't really matter. Just do what your teacher does. So can you remember how to find the slope? Well done if you remember that to find the slope, it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do you remember that? So the formula says we should use y2, so that would be the y value of point number 2, minus the y value of point number 1, divided by the x value of point number 2, which would be that one, minus the x value of point number 1, like that. So we would go m equals, now we're just going to go fill it in, so it's 5 take away 10 over negative 2 take away negative 7, because you see this is a negative 7, so I just write it like that. Then I go ahead and I just chuck this all on the calculator. And so we end up with a slope of negative 1. So then we can go here and we can just type that in, negative 1x plus c. Can you remember how to find c? Well done if you can remember that you just need to go and choose a point. And it doesn't matter whether you choose point 1 or point 2. In fact, I'm going to choose point 2. But if you chose point 1, it'll give you the same value. So what we'll do is we know that this is an x value, so it goes in the place of x. This is a y value, so it goes in the place of y. And so we're going to end up with 5 equals to negative 1. X is then negative 2. And so 5 is equal to 2, because negative 1 multiplied by negative 2 is positive 2. And so if you had to get c by itself, it would be 5 take away 2. And so c would be, let's just write this over here rather, c would be 3. So we have the equation now in not standard form, point slope form, which is like that. And so all that we need to do now is just take this and then put it into standard form. So I'm going to take this negative 1x to the right, where it'll become positive, like that. And so here we have standard form, where we've got the x and the y on the left. The x's are positive, and there's no fractions. We're going to do this example, and then one other example. And the example that is coming up after this one will have a fraction in it. And so we'll have to get rid of the fraction, because standard form doesn't allow us to use fractions in the final answer. So they want us to do standard form. So we know standard form by now is ax plus by equals c. They've given us a point 1 and a point 2, so what we'll do is we'll use slope-intercept form, which is plus b or plus c. So we need to use these 2 points to find the slope, and we do that by using this formula again. See, it becomes very repetitive. So we'll use this in the place of y2, this in the place of y1, and then this over here in the point of x, and then we could use this one in the point of x1. So that's going to give us 15 take away 5 over negative 2 take away 3. Go ahead, type that in on the calculator, just like that, and you get negative 2. So now we can go fill in the slope as negative 2. And then to find c, remember this is where we'll choose a random point. So for example, we would choose, let's say we chose point 2, so then we could put this in the place of x, and then we could put this one in the place of y. And so then you would get 15 equals to negative 2 times negative 2 plus c, and so you'd get 15 equals to 4 plus c. And so if you had to work out c, you would eventually end up with 11. And so your slope-intercept form would be y equals to negative 2x add 11. But we are not done, because they asked us for standard form. So we'll take this 2x over, so it'll become positive. And there we go. We're now done, because now this is a positive. These two are on the left. There's no fractions, and so we're good. Now the next example is going to have a fraction somewhere along the line. So that's pretty cool, because now we can see how to handle that with standard form. So once again, standard form, ax plus by equals to c. Now they've given us 2 points, so we're going to first start off with slope-intercept form, or we can say plus c. Then we're going to work out the slope using the formula that we all know by now. So we could use this over here, because that's the y value of point number 2, and then y value of point number 1, x of point number 2, which is there, and then x of point number 1 over there. Okay, now we just go fill everything in. So that's going to be 3 take away negative 1. You see, so I just said 3 take away, and then this number is negative 1. So I just put a negative 1 there, it's fine. And then negative 2 take away 3. If you then had to go work this all out, you end up with negative 4 over 5. So now we can go fill in the slope. Now to get c, we just choose a point once again. So I'm going to choose point number 1. So that means that this can go in the place of x. This can go in the place of y. So you end up with negative 1 equals to negative 4 over 5, and then x is 3 plus c. And so now you end up with negative 1 equals, now this you can just type out on your calculator if you want, but it should give you negative 12 over 5 plus c. And now to get c by itself, we're just going to take the negative 12 over 5 to the other side, and so therefore c would be equal to 7 over 5. So that's not the answer. We can now go write out the slope-intercept form. So we said that the slope was negative 4 over 5, and then the c value is 7 over 5. Now, here comes the exciting part. We need to convert this into standard form. So you can first decide to get rid of the fraction, or you can first take the x's and the y's to the left. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take the x over so long. So it'll become positive. So we end up with that. Okay, so now that's looking good. Now we need to get rid of the fractions. So we need to find a lowest common denominator. So you could think of the y as y over 1. So the lowest common denominator is literally just going to be 5. Yes, you could use 10 if you really wanted to, but try use the lowest one. Okay, so it just makes life easier. So what we'll do is we will try to make all of these bottom parts equal to 5. So that means we won't do anything with that one. We'll multiply this one by 5, but what you do to the bottom, you do to the top, and then this one we'll just leave it as it is. And so we end up with 4x plus 5y equals to 7, and this would be the final answer, because the x is positive, and there's no more fractions.